Have we done a sound check already? Everybody good? All right, 2-minute warning.
Just a reminder to everyone in the room to please silence your phones at this time. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Muriel Bowser. I'm the mayor of Washington, D.C., and we are here in City Hall where I will be naming an interim chief of police. I'm joined by Deputy Mayor Lindsay Apia, and I am joined by Executive Assistant Chief of the Metropolitan Police Department, Jeffrey Carroll. As you know, just over a week ago, Chief Pamela Smith indicated to me that she would be stepping down by the end of the year. And today I am proud to announce that Jeff Carroll, a 21-year veteran of the Metropolitan Police Department, will be the interim chief of the Metropolitan Police Department. Let's hear it for Jeff. As I mentioned, Chief Carroll has been at MPD more than 20 years. He joined MPD in 2002 and has risen through the ranks, and I'm sure he's going to describe to you the many responsibilities he's been entrusted with during his tenure. He became a commander, for example, in 2016. It was assigned to the Department's Special Operations Division. He has led our city through some of the most significant public safety challenges in the past decade. And he has overseen some of our other special moments like the World Series and Stanley Cup operations. And he was a very significant part of our city's ability to respond to January 6th. We look forward to him leading us through more good events in the city. And Chief Carroll is also very familiar with DC residents in our neighborhood as a respected and trusted, and he is respected and trusted by members of the Metropolitan Police Department, as well as our partners throughout the region. And Jeff will tell a story, but he grew up in this region in Calvert County and grew up with family members also serving in MPD. In fact, he had an uncle who also led SOD. And I know that he is the right person to build on the momentum of the past 2 years so that we will continue to drive down crime in the city. The department has been through an incredibly challenging year, and that's on top of the day-to-day challenges that our men and women of MPD face every single day to keep our city safe. But I know this, we have the best department in the nation. MPD is the best in the business at both community policing and handling large-scale special events and First Amendment activities. And that's where I want to keep our focus. I'll be focused on making sure we have the right policy environment to attract and retain more officers and to ensure our officers have what they need to be effective. And I am confident that Chief Carroll is the right leader to meet this moment. So, ladies and gentlemen, Jeffrey Carroll.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Madam Mayor, members of the Metropolitan Police Department, distinguished guests, and members of our community. Thank you for being here today. I'm deeply honored and sincerely grateful for the trust you placed in me. First and foremost, Mayor, thank you for selecting me to serve as the interim chief of police. I don't take this responsibility lightly. Your confidence in me is both humbling and motivating, as I'm committed to leading this department with integrity, transparency, and a strong sense of duty to the people that we serve. I appreciate your leadership and your continued support of the Metropolitan Police Department. Public safety is not the responsibility of one individual or one department. It's a shared effort. I look forward to working closely with the community, all of our district agencies and city leaders to keep the district safe, strong, and united. To the women and men of the Metropolitan Police Department, thank you. Your dedication, professionalism, and sacrifice do not go unnoticed. Every day you put on the uniform, knowing the challenges and risks that come with it. Yet you continue to serve with courage and commitment, whether responding to 911 calls, engaging with residents, interacting with the youth, or working behind the scenes. You are the backbone of the department and a vital part of this community. I'm proud to stand along beside you. I know the long hours you work, the difficult decisions you face, and the personal sacrifices you and your families make. As interim chief, my priority will be to support you, to listen to you, and to ensure that you have the tools, training, and leadership you need to succeed. To our community members, thank you for your trust and partnership. Policing works best when there is mutual respect and open communication. I'm committed to continue to build strong relationships with our neighborhoods, businesses, schools, and community organizations. We'll keep listening, learning, and engaging the community because public safety is strongest when it's built together. Looking ahead, I'm excited about what we can accomplish. We will continue to focus on community-based policing, accountability, and proactive problem solving. We'll work to strengthen trust, improve transparency, and ensure that every person in our city feels safe, heard, and respected. Thank you again, Mayor, for this incredible opportunity. Thank you to the members of the Metropolitan Police Department for your service to our city, and a special thank you to my family, my father, my wife, and my kids who are here today. Without your love and support, I wouldn't be standing here. Thank you. Take any questions? Yes, ma'am.
You talked a lot about trust and the community's trust and working along with community members. Thank you. I work for Telemundo. We speak to a lot of Hispanic folks that live here in the district. People are scared. They were telling me today they're scared of contacting MPD. They're scared of contacting MPD and then being transferred to ICE, a possible detention, a possible deportation. What is your message today for the Hispanic community and listeners that are looking at you right now with expectations to be able to trust you?
Sure, absolutely. The Metropolitan Police Department is here for the entire community, including the Hispanic population. We're here to build trust and to work with people. We don't want anyone to feel scared or fearful to contact the police, that they're a victim of crime, if they need police services. So I urge them to continue to reach out to us, to work with us. I know there's been a lot of things said in the media publicly about immigration enforcement. MPD is here to work with the community to keep us all safe. Yes, sir.
You're credited for your work in strengthening the relationship between federal partners and MPD. As now that this collaboration has been under scrutiny, how do you navigate, this work together, especially given the recent incidents of the HSI agents opening fire while patrolling alongside MPD?
Well, working with our federal law enforcement partners is not really in the Metropolitan Police Department. As the mayor said, I've had the opportunity since really 2016 working with our Special Operations Division and our Homeland Security Bureau to work very closely with our federal law enforcement partners. Obviously, our relationship has changed under a new federal task force. With that, we continue to work together, so just making sure that we're strengthening that and making sure that we have the ability to relay to our federal partners really the priorities of the city and the residents here in the city and the community that we serve to make sure they are well represented, and the police officers that are working out there with the federal agents can make sure they understand our community. Mark.
Chief, two questions. Thank you. One, will you do anything, or what will you do differently than Chief Smith when it comes to the cooperation with the federal surge? And specifically, will you rescind her executive order that dictates how officers interact with people who are not in custody but then being detained? And then I'd also like you to just respond to what, if anything, you'll do regarding the two federal reports that were critical of crime stats that would restore the public's faith in the crime statistics.
Sure. So let's start with the crime statistics. Obviously, there's been some interim reports that came out, draft reports, things that are said. The final reports have not been submitted to us. So obviously, we have some information that's in those reports, but we don't know all the details of what's in there. But with that, obviously, we don't want to wait until the full reports are out. We know there's some concerns related to the data. So really focusing on 3 areas of improved training for our officers as it relates to the classifications of crime and how we, how we ensure that we're properly classifying crime. Also, enhancing our policy and technology controls for making changes to the classifications. So what I'm saying there is tightening up the internal policy that we use as far as the actual response for the officers and when you can change classifications. And our technology, our records management system, the ability to make changes in the system with alerts to members that reports have been changed, as well as the requirement for additional review and approval if a change is made to the report. And finally, something we're looking at is the development of a dedicated auditing team to look at all the reports on the back end to make sure that reports, after they're completed, submitted by the officials from the various bureaus and police districts, there's an independent group within the police department that can look at those reports and make sure they're appropriately classified. Did I get all your questions?
Then on immigration, just cooperation with the surge, and specifically, will you rescind the chief's executive order?
Sure. So obviously, I'm coming in fresh to the seat right now. So right now, I just wanted to kind of take a look at the operations of the police department, kind of see where we're at, and then any decisions about policy changes and things like that, give it a little time with that. We'll continue to work with our federal law enforcement partners. We'll continue not to be directly involved with immigration enforcement as we have in the past. And again, we'll continue to work forward to make the city a safer place. Paul?
Jeff, basically you're taking this job for a year. Are you going to run the department as if this is your job to keep, and once the year is up and there's a new mayor, are you going to try and keep the job, or are you going to go for the job?
Great questions. No, I mean, the mayor is designated as the interim chief of police. I'm going to be the chief of police. I'm going to run the department. I mean, my goal is to move the department forward, to make sure that we're driving down crime, to make sure we're keeping the residents safe, to make sure we're meeting all the goals and expectations of the community. So may it be for a year, may it be nominated by another mayor, whatever it may be. My goal, I've spent the past 23 years for the Metropolitan Police Department, and it's given me a lot. It's given me many opportunities, and my heart's here with the agency. So I'm going to do my best to move this agency forward. Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Felicia Ashley, ABC7. As you enter this role, two-part question, are there any aspects or first actions you'd like to take in terms of enhancing MPD? And also, how are you going to address the allegations about certain alleged internal issues about whether it be trust or transparency? From Scott Taylor, he said that your name, among others, was named in a 2021 lawsuit about not taking certain officers' complaints seriously. Going into this role, how do you address that and strengthen the internal relationship?
Sure. So I think it's really important that we continue to work together with the community. I think going into this role, making sure that we're reviewing what's out there, any allegations that are made as it relates to the allegations of this or anything else, obviously they'll be investigated. There's several investigations, as you're aware of, as it relates to the crime stats. But things that come up, we'll continue to investigate. Our Internal Affairs has done a great job working with their partners at the Department of Justice and Congress to be cooperative with that, and we'll continue to do that.
Let me just jump in for a second to respond to your question, because the reports that have been issued leave a lot to be desired in terms of, you know, evidence and context and any back and forth with the affected agency. So I am going to be asking our Inspector General, the DC Inspector General, to look at the questions that were raised in those two reports. Yes.
I have a question for the mayor and for the chief. For the mayor, I know last week when we talked about a potential new chief, you said there's a deep bench here, a lot of people to look at within MPD. So what stood out to make you decide on Chief Carroll as opposed to other potential candidates?
Well, let me say this. When you are recruiting top-level executives in the government, one thing that is very important is that the process is confidential, and that has always been my process, and that will remain my process. I'm going to make an exception today because one young lady was drug into this unfairly, I think, and I only looked in MPD. I'm just going to tell you. So I've had internal conversations only, and I selected among highly qualified MPD officials. Jeff, like many of the officials, I have known in various capacities, and I think he has had the opportunity to serve a breadth of leadership roles at MPD, and including most recently as executive assistant chief. And he's very familiar with you guys, with community, with the council, with partners, and he is very excited to take on the role. Yes. Oh, sure.
We've talked about all the last year just how unprecedented it is to be in DC, to be in leadership roles, and especially now, taking on this role. What is the mindset you're going into this job with, just given all the unprecedented events of the last year?
Well, I mean, the past year, I mean, just January alone was it was tremendous with a number of special events, with a plane crash, and just throughout the year, there's been lots of challenges out there. But the Metropolitan Police Department, we're used to that. We're used to a variety of special events. We're used to unplanned things. I would say over the past, 7 years, we really had a lot of different things that come out there. And the men and women of the Metropolitan Police Department, they're able to pivot. They're able to take that and continue to push forward. What the next year will actually lead into, we don't know, obviously. But I feel that, hopefully with my leadership, with the executive team that I have here, the assistant chiefs, we're going to push this agency forward and make it even better than it already is.
Yes.
When you go seventh, the good questions are taken. Question for the interim chief and question for you, Mayor. There's been a lot that has gone on this year with the police department, and we've heard a morale issue exists. We've heard discontent from some officers. What do you do now that you're in charge to address that and get officers feeling better about their jobs and having other people want to come here to be officers?
No, I mean, one of our priorities is not only to recruit new officers, as you mentioned, but it's to retain the officers that we already have here. It does no good to bring in new people if we can't keep the folks that are here. And like I said, the men and women of the Metropolitan Police Department, they do outstanding work day in and day out, the calls for service, the variety of things. We do things here at the Metropolitan Police Department that no other police department in the nation do. Escorting the president, the vice president, all these things. So our team, our officers, they do an outstanding job. My goal as I move forward into the role of chief is one of the things is obviously to recruit and retain more people, but also to increase the morale across the department. And I think part of that is through conversations, working with the DC Police Union and their members to make sure that we're addressing the things we can, taking feedback, taking ideas from the members of how we can move this agency forward so it's positive for the entire police department.
And Mayor, may I ask you, we've been here for all the chiefs you've named. How has that experience informed that choice of the interim chief? And what have you learned along the years about what that decision needs to be and how you take that information and make your selection?
It's an interesting question. When I was elected mayor, Kathy Lanier was the chief of police. And I spoke to her before I was elected and I said, I want you to be the chief of police. And then, you know, sometime later, the NFL came calling and she went. And I have had the opportunity now to name, actually every chief I've named has come from MPD, and with various levels of tenure. Mostly all of them are kind of this vintage of Jeff. And Chief Smith was also MPD, but she had come over from Park Police a couple of years earlier. And so I think in each of those selections, we just had people who were deeply familiar with DC crime. And I always look for in a chief a crime fighter. All right. And some people are philosophers, or some people are this or they're that, but I want somebody who is focused on driving down crime fighting. Yep.
Well, congratulations, Interim Chief Carol. Martin Austin was my name. One thing that recently came up actually yesterday, and this could be for the mayor or for the Interim Chief, Council Member Janice Lewis George, who's running to be the next mayor, could potentially be your next boss, depending on the circumstances, has introduced legislation specifically about immigration enforcement and the role that MPD plays. Her bill would basically say that unless there's a judicial warrant, MPD couldn't transport federal agents, couldn't do surveillance on behalf of federal agents, couldn't participate in any activity around hospitals, schools, that sort of thing when it comes to immigration. What do you think, Mayor or Interim Chief, what do you think about this bill? Do you think, does that raise concerns for you about what MPD is or is not doing regarding immigration?
I haven't seen the bill, and so I don't think we can comment on it right now.
Just describe the elements of it to you.
I like to read it before I comment on it.
I mean, those are all the parts, but yeah.
Oh, well, I won't take your word for it. How about that? I will read it, and then I'll comment. Yes.
I trust Martin's reporting.
Okay, great. After some of the reporting I've seen over the last couple of days, it's, forgive me.
We all know what you're talking
Yes, thank you.
Mayor Bowser, can you talk about the confirmation process?
Sure.
And residency requirement for the chief? Will you put his name up in the time that is required by DC code for a full confirmation hearing? And chief, do you plan on moving into the district as residency requirements for the
the chief is, or any official, well, certain officials in the district are required to make residency within 180 days of confirmation. So I'll leave that at that. And what we plan to do with the confirmation process, let me just say this. I'm mayor as long as I'm mayor, and I have all the powers that attach to that, including appointment. But I am also a person who served on the council, who became mayor, and recognized that mayors like to appoint police chiefs. So I think that this is a conversation. I have had this conversation with Jeff, and so he recognizes that we have some options for him serving as interim, or getting or a conversation that we'll have with the council about how they would handle an appointment.
So can you clarify, because it doesn't sound like you're like, oh yeah, we'll put him up for the normal confirmation. I mean, I get that he may only be there for a year, and so
that is correct. What you just said, that your assessment is correct.
And so you may not put him up for a normal confirmation process?
This is not a normal confirmation process. Yeah.
Question for Jeff and then for you, Mayor, on off topic. Jeff, Michael Pulliam has been on the sidelines for 7 months now after he was accused of manipulating crime numbers. Do you plan to put him back to work?
I expect, and the chief I'll turn to, but I expect that the Inspector General's review will be inclusive of all the data allegations.
Can you Comment on the DC Court of Appeals ruling on the National Guard?
You know, I only saw the headline. I don't know if you've had a chance to read it, Deputy Mayor. Okay.
We complied with court orders, and what we saw is that the Court of Appeals has granted a stay of the lower court order that found that the National Guard deployment was illegal. So we'll continue to do what we do, work with the Attorney General and the Solicitor General to determine what next steps are.
Mayor, you said to me not too long ago you wanted the Guard out of the city. You still feel that way?
I still, what I've said all along is it's a legal question that's going through the courts. And Attorney General Schwab believes strongly in our case. I haven't talked to him since this most recent action, so I want to talk to him and see what he thinks is appropriate for next steps with the case. Yes.
Hi, Emma Huber with the Washington Post. Two questions for you, Interim Chief Carroll. First of all, one word that came up a lot in your remarks was transparency. Obviously, there's been some mistrust lately, whether it be with crime stats or immigration enforcement. So what tangibly are you going to do to promote transparency? And second of all, you know, you're stepping into a demanding job at an unprecedented time. What made you agree to step up to the task and feel like this is something that you feel called to take on?
Sure. So as it relates to the transparency part, I think I talked about some of the recommendations related to the data, the crime data, and things we're going to implement to make sure that we can, make sure the data is appropriately classified, ways to build in safeguards into that, and then ways to have independent auditing of that data to make sure that if there is an issue, concern, or misclassification, there is a group to address that. So I hope that will help to push forth the transparency. In reference to the immigration, I mean, the conversations with the community, our district commanders, our command staff continue to talk to members of the community. It continues to obviously be a big concern to them. It's a big concern to us and the feelings that are out there, as it's been raised several times here. So again, we're just going to continue to engage, to talk to folks, to let them know that we are here to support them. As for the question about why I decided, to throw my name in the hat, I guess it is, I've been a member of the Metropolitan Police Department for 23 years, and in that time I've had the opportunity to serve in the 3rd District as an officer, a lieutenant, and a district commander. I had the opportunity to serve in the 1st District as a sergeant. I was in the 6th District as a captain, and I spent my time as the commander of the Special Operations Division, the Assistant Chief of the Homeland Security Bureau, the Assistant Chief of the Internal Affairs Bureau. And over those 23 years, I've had the opportunity really to touch almost all parts of this agency. May it be the first half of my career I spent mainly in patrol, the latter half I spent in a lot of our specialized operations and investigations. So with that, I feel that I'm prepared to look at the agency. I have a lot of knowledge about the agency. I've served on the command staff since 2015. Chief Lanier promoted me to the commander of the 3rd District in 2015, so that's 10 years. I've had the ability to witness the styles of both Chief Lanier, Chief Newsham, Chief Conti, Chief Smith. And through that, I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about, how chiefs should operate. I've learned a lot about the agency. I've seen the transition of our agency as time has gone on. So I feel that I owe it to the city. I feel it to the department. But I feel I have something to give to push this agency forward.
Chief, of those 4 chiefs that you've worked under, is there one who you would point to as you might model yourself? I know I'm asking you to pick your favorite kid. But
Sure, absolutely. All of them. No, each one of them, just like my favorite kid, each one of them are unique, right? I mean, you guys had the opportunity to cover each one of them, and I've learned something from each one of them. I still stay in contact with all of them to this day. I mean, they provided me the opportunity to work directly with the chief. It's something special, and we have some of the best chiefs in the world at the Metropolitan Police Department. They've gone on to do greater things, but what they've done for this department since I joined with Chief Ramsey, I mean, he's a forefather of modern policing, I would argue to say, with one of the people, and from that, we've really come a long way, and we're going to continue to move forward.
One last. Okay.
Can you talk about the moment that you found out the news? Was it in person? Was it on the phone? What was that experience like for you?
Obviously, the mayor said we're not going to get exactly into the process, but it is a process, right? With that being said, I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, right? There's a lot of impacts personally, professionally. There's a lot of impacts to my colleagues, my coworkers. I mean, it's a very exciting time. I think I'm prepared for it. I'm looking forward to the challenge to move the department forward as we move forward. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to having some new ideas and implementing some new things kind of as we go through. by taking into account of the advice and the consideration of the assistant chiefs, our commanders, our inspectors, and the officers in the department. So I'm excited to move forward.
So when you talk about the challenge, what is your greatest challenge that you step forward from this room right here? What's the number one challenge?
Well, I mean, that's a very interesting question. I mean, I think there's a lot of things out there, but really I think the main thing is to move into the role of chief and really to hit the ground running, right? To get the agency moving forward and to take, as the mayor said and I said, to take it and make it my department with the guidance of the assistant chiefs and the commanders. And, you know, we may not have that much time. We may have a lot of time. We don't know, right? But the moments that we do have, the goal is to move forward, to work on crime, to drive this agency forward.
And are you chief now or not until January 1st?
He will be sworn in, I don't know exactly what day, but he'll be sworn in when the chief leaves.
So Smith is still the chief?
Of course, yes, he is. She is. And to answer your question, I looked across the table at him in his eyes and said, "You sure you want this?" As I do everybody, I say, you know, this is Washington, D.C. We're different. We're different. And this is a huge responsibility. And without hesitation, the chief said yes. So thank you, everybody.